You're listening to China Africa Talk.
Jambo, ni Bridget akikuletea kipindi kinachohusiana na China na Afrika.
Vous écoutez le dialogue sino-africain avec Bridget.
Everything China, everything Africa.
Olá, você está ouvindo China Africa Talk com Bridget.
سيداتي وسادتي مرحبا بكم في الحوار الصيني العربي مع بريدجيت.
Happy Chinese New Year, dear listeners, and welcome back to the program. This is China Africa Talk. I'm Bridget Mutambirwa, and I bring you discussions on what's happening with China and Africa from a Chinese and African perspective. Chinese New Year, also known as the Spring Festival, is the most significant celebration in Chinese culture. It's a time marked by time-honored traditions and joyful gatherings that emphasize family unity, renewal, and hopes for prosperity in the year ahead. Today, the celebrations of Chinese New Year has grown into a powerful symbol of the deepening cultural and diplomatic ties between China and the rest of the world, including Africa. This year, we welcome the Year of the Horse, specifically the Fire Horse or Red Horse, a year associated with passion, energy, and transformation. As we gallop into this dynamic new chapter, what does the horse symbolize in both Chinese and African cultures? And what key themes and milestones might lie ahead for China-Africa relations in the new year? To discuss this further, I'm now joined by Ju Ya-xiong, Associate Professor at Zhejiang Normal University, and Eric Mpona, a PhD student at Zhejiang University and Vice Chairman of the China-Zimbabwe Exchange Center. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bridget.
Glad you invited me for this.
Professor, the Spring Festival is often described as China's most important festival. What are its cultural roots and why does it still matter today?
You know, Spring Festival is a very important holiday in China. It is rooted in a long tradition of China as an agricultural society, agricultural country. You know, in Chinese, 春节 means a spring festival, and it's at the beginning of the spring.
All right.
And this is a grand ceremony and a ritual praying for good harvest of the coming year. And it also is rooted in our ancestor worship.
Okay.
Because Chinese people, we worship our ancestors. We are making use of this occasion to remember our common ancestors. This way, we are able to strengthen the bond of the family. With China as a big country, and we have a lot of surnames. Those are big families passing on from the history. We also have some more like a legend telling about the starting of the Spring Festival, or in China it's New Year, 新年. So there was something like a monster called Nian. It comes out to harm the people during this special occasion at the turn of the new year. Okay. So people tried hard to scare away such monsters by using firecrackers, and also the family together enjoying big feasts so they can protect themselves while working together.
I remember when I first came to Beijing, there'd be lots of firecrackers.
Yeah, it's noisy. So the noise may scare away such beasts. There's also a legend telling some kind of a mischievous evil that is coming to harm our children by touching their forehead. So it's called a sui. We have to show sui. That means we are guarding against evil to come to our children. We give our children some 压岁钱 in a red envelope. Now we call it a 红包 red envelope. Inside is the money or kind of a special thing to curb or to prevent this mischievous evil called the sui to harm our children.
I'd like to know from you, Eric, how many spring festivals have you celebrated, and what does the Spring Festival mean to you personally?
I've been in China for 8 years now. In total, I've celebrated 8 spring festivals. This is a very important festival for both the Chinese people, now for the world. Before, we used to say this is the most celebrated traditional festival among the Chinese people, both at home and abroad. But now, since 2024, we have seen it being included on the 2024 UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. That means that it is something that now we can consider to be a very important festival for the world. So I've made it a point that every year during the Spring Festival, I go to the villages because that is where I think you can actually feel the cultural essence of this beautiful festival. Yes, it has got a lot of different meanings depending on which angle you are looking at it, economically, socially, and culturally. Economically, that is the time when you would see a lot of economic exchanges in terms of there are some products that you know would actually be selling during this period of time, because when you go back home, you've got to go with something in hand. Yeah. So socially, it is the best time for people to have that reunion. During the whole year, you have been busy going to work and all of that, but having the time to sit with your family, with your relatives, with your friends to conclude the year, it is actually such a very beautiful moment. And this is the time to do it.
I know you from Zimbabwe, Eric. I would like to know which traditional festivals in Zimbabwe feels most comparable to Spring Festival, and what are the biggest similarities and differences?
Well, before I used to think that I would have to equate the Spring Festival with New Year.
Okay.
But I think now I have a little bit of a different thought about it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, yes, our New Year really fits in terms of economic exchange, in terms of the social part, but culturally it doesn't equate to the Spring Festival. So if I'm to pick something from Zimbabwe that we say it is something that we can trace to as early as the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom or any time during the ancient times, I'm going to pick Bira. This is a traditional ceremony where we use that kind of a gathering to respect our ancestors and to have family and relative gatherings. It also is kind of similar to the Spring Festival in the sense that it's a seasonal transition. If you take a look at it, traditionally, people used to have those biras when we are celebrating the harvest, or maybe we are praying for the rains. The purpose is also to seek blessings, to looking for the guidance, protection. And this is what we see happening during the Spring Festival. If you really go to the villages in China, you will see that besides those gatherings that they have, it is also the best time for the people to communicate with our beloved ones who left us. That is our ancestors. It is at that point in time when you can have all of these things. And I think Bira meets all of that. This is why I also think that there are a lot of similarities between the Chinese culture and the African culture.
Yeah. And in the past, what rituals and folk beliefs were linked to welcoming the new year? How have these evolved in modern celebrations?
Yes, we have lots of rituals. For example, in the preparation, we have the big cleaning ritual. The whole family, including the children, are called together. And now we have different tasks of sorting out our houses, cleaning the floor and the yard. And then we are to post trillion, the spring couplets in red paper, writing with a red writing brush and very big Chinese characters. And we also post the door gods to guard against the evil spirit to come in our house and to harm us. And all this, the cleaning is over. And of course, usually the moms are busy preparing food. Food like some pig, duck, whole set on the clean table. We prepare some bowls with a bowl of rice and chopsticks. Of course, we also prepare some kind of paper, incense stick, and also firecrackers ready. So when the food is set on the table, the parent will ask the children, now you burn the firecracker as a signal to inviting our ancestors to come in and to see the development of their offsprings. We show our admiration and our remembrance of our past ancestors.
Interesting.
Yeah, and in this, when our ancestors are here enjoying their feast, we prepared for them, and we also pay tribute to our kitchen gods.
Okay.
And we have multiple different gods.
I'd like you to explain more about that because I spend a lot of time in the kitchen actually. So I'd like to know.
The kitchen is a very, very important place for Chinese people because we prepare all the food there. And it must be a very important location or position to communicate with the gods. Okay, you better protect us. And in addition to the kitchen gods, we also go to like a hen house, pig house, because in China we have the various kinds of gods.
Yes, yes.
On this special occasion, we are paying tribute to all of them. So when these ceremonies are over, then we started to prepare the big meal for the supper. On this occasion, fish is a must.
All right.
Because the fish in
At
Chinese
least I've got
is
some fish in my fridge. I've got some
yeah,
fish.
fish in Chinese is called yu. That means every year we'll have some savings for the coming years. Okay, so and the fish you never eat them all. Sometimes you just keep some for the next year because tomorrow is the next year. And we also eat Chinese dumplings. Those dumplings is in the shape of ancient currency yuanbao. We call it yuanbao. So you are eating dumplings, meaning you are earning a lot of money. You are taking money in. And we also have another kind of special food. We call it nian gao. It's kind of glutinous rice cake. Nian gao, gao means you're rising to a higher place. You're rising to the prosperities. We eat nian gao on this special occasion. The next day is 正月初一. The day is literally the new year. The first day of the new year. On this day, there are taboos. For example, okay, you do not sweep. Because yesterday you just made a big clean.
Yes.
And today you are not going to sweep. Because we may sweep away the good luck of the coming year. And also, you're not to use scissors and knives. You may cut off your fortune.
The blessings. Okay.
We have a lot of such stories, a lot of such stories. Nowadays, you see a lot of people working thousands of kilometers away from home. They are going home for the family reunion. This is also a symbol of our family reunions, consolidation, our unity. And we join together for the meal and we exchange information and we express our good wishes for the coming new year.
Eric, across Africa today, how visible are Spring Festival celebrations beyond the Chinese communities, and what kinds of events have you seen on the ground this year in Africa?
Yeah, I think the Spring Festival, it is gaining traction in Africa. The celebrations, this year we have organized the Spring Festival Carnival in Zimbabwe. It is the first time having that. Of course, in terms of the celebrations, we have always had some performances and stuff where people just gathered to celebrate the Chinese New Year. So now I think people have moved past that period of time where they just understand the Spring Festivals from those performances. Now they had to feel that it's an experience. It's something that is quite comprehensive. You have got to talk about the food. You have got to talk about how you dress. You've got to talk about, all those other aspects of the Spring Festival. This is what we did during the Spring Festival Carnival. It was not only about the performances. It was a whole big setup. We just had to make sure that people have that feeling of the whole Chinese New Year. And you have got that opportunity to even experience writing the Chinese characters, doing that calligraphy. So this is what we did. And I've seen also that in other African countries, they've had quite amazing activities, be it in Namibia, be it in Kenya. They've had quite big Chinese New Year activities. I've seen also at the AU headquarters, they also had a very big Chinese New Year celebration activity. The change is that we are now beginning to have a better understanding of the Spring Festival. I mean, to treat it not as mere celebration, but as a live experience.
Professor Ju, Chinese New Year 2026 begins on February 17, ushering in the Year of the Horse. In Chinese culture, what does the horse symbolize and what themes does it represent for the year ahead?
In Chinese culture, there are 12 such animals. Each of them has special implications. For the horse, it symbolizes energy, success, freedom, and perseverance. You see, very often when we talk about horse, we have the image of a horse grazing on the grassland.
Yes.
It's free. And also the perseverance to survive in a difficult environment. Some people say people born in the year of horse are natural leaders.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, because they have very special character, charismatic, and they are more independent like this, and they are able to lead. Because a horse, very often they're in bigger groups.
Yes,
In the
yes.
group, there need to be leaders.
That's true.
Yeah, so there will be a leader directing the whole group for the right direction.
Eric, in many African cultures, horses can represent far more than an animal: power, status, mobility, ceremony, even spirituality. Now, in your region, the southern part of Africa, what role do horses play in culture, history, or art?
Okay, I think it is kind of similar. How we view the horses. I mean, for us, I think what is more popular in the Zimbabwean culture, not really the horse specifically. I think the zebras are quite more popular, and they are of the same family. So we have got it as a totem to some, and that it is quite colorful and all of that. So I think if you would want to relate it to also to the horse, I think it has those characteristics that it represents the power, mobility that we were talking about. Yes, so I think that even in modern day, we see that horses do play a very important role, although we don't have so many representations of the horse in our culture, as I just mentioned. We normally would use the zebra more. So for me, I think that they are kind of related. So maybe that's where the relation is, and even spiritually, culturally as well.
So, looking ahead to 2026, Professor Ju, what major milestones should we watch for in China's development and in China-Africa relations?
This year is pretty special for China as well, because this is the first year of the 15th five-year plan, and ranging from 2026 to 2030. And over the past decade, we have successfully completed nearly all of the goals we set for the past 10 years. The Made in China 2025. Now China has pretty successfully transformed into an innovative country. We have a lot of breakthroughs in science technology.
Yes.
And of course, we have pretty successfully secured our position of developing ourselves, even though we faced the tariff war from the United States of America, and many countries are actually influenced by the US too, and that is not good. They work out some policies that are not very friendly to China and to Chinese investors.
Yeah.
And this year, we anticipate a lot more development because every year we have the two sessions working out the development plan for the coming year, which is part of the full 5-year plan. We are also to see the APEC summit in Shenzhen, and this will be a very important occasion for the regional integration, regional economic cooperation. And I'm pretty sure, Shenzhen is famous for its electronics.
Yes.
And Shenzhen is a newest metropolis in China, one of the 4 first special economic zones. Now it is a metropolis of over 10 million people, and with a lot of the big companies clustering in Shenzhen. With such a development technology, we are sure that this will help the development of many developing countries, including Africa. This year marks the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Africa. There will be a lot of celebrations. Last time we talked about the China-Africa Year of People-to-People Exchange. This celebration already kicked off by our foreign minister's visit to Ethiopia. This year, you also see expanded tariff-free access for African products to come to China.
Yes.
We have a lot to anticipate for the new development of our cooperation between China and African countries.
Eric, on social media, there's a growing interest now in adopting Chinese cultural practices. Some call it a Chinese era or becoming Chinese. During the Spring Festival, which traditions are you seeing people from around the world adopt, and why do you think they resonate?
This is the era of globalization. We are having not only economic globalization, but also cultural globalization. In the past, we have seen different cultures moving from the global north, from Western countries down to the global south. We have had a lot of cultures coming through the movies, different setups, even through education. And now we are now seeing a new trend that is south-south. We are seeing cultures moving from China to the other parts of the world, be it in the global south and also even south-north. That is moving from China to the Western countries. And this is because China is now playing a very critical role in modern times. As you can see, even the language. We have got a lot of people who are studying Chinese language, even in Zimbabwe, in many African countries. And so it is just natural that during the process, we have got to, absorb some of the traditions. And it is a global trend. So I don't think this is something that we can say it's one-sided. It's a global trend where also even from our side, you see that there are a lot of cultures that are also being spread. As you can see here amongst the Chinese young people. Now we have got a lot of them who actually like dancing the pianos and everything. So this is a globalization trend. But I think there is a lot that is going to happen. There is a lot that is not really known about China in terms of the food, how the Chinese people live. I've been following some of the videos on social media where people are talking about issues to do with even just drinking hot water. There is a lot that you can learn behind why Chinese people choose to do some of those things. So it's a process that is, happening against the background of this globalization, where we can utilize it as the best way to understand China better.
I'd like to know again from you, Professor, the Spring Festival was inscribed on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List in 2024. What does that recognition change about how the world engages with the festival?
Actually, UNESCO's inscription of China's Spring Festival, like a cultural heritage, okay? This is a very important gesture of the recognition of Chinese tradition and culture in the world, because we have long history and we have recorded a lot of development, a lot of things in China, and this is the treasure for China as well as the world. A lot of experience accumulated from China's development can be shared by the humanity. And we are sure when such cultural heritage, when such experience is accepted by people around the world, we are sure to see they are more able to help themselves. And also people start to know that people are actually different. But we can have a lot, and we are sure to have a lot in common. So in China, it's we can coexist and we can cooperate, even though we have differences between us. You see, from China's celebration of our Spring Festival, Chinese New Year, you see a lot of information is actually carried on by China in China. The unity of Chinese people, and we also anticipate to see the unity of the whole world. Okay, the unity of the global south to better develop ourselves, the unity of humanity to prevent the potential harm from of our earth. So all this has already been embodied in our development ideology. For example, President Xi Jinping proposed a community of shared future for the humanity. Such proposals always have their cultural tradition based on Chinese culture. And we believe when people working together, we are more able to find solutions to the difficulties, and we can better develop ourselves.
Professor Jude, how are you celebrating the Spring Festival this year? And on a personal note, what are your hopes for the Year of the Horse for yourself and for China-Africa ties?
For myself, I do wish to take advantage of my own background in language, in international law, in international economics. I wish I can better serve as a bridge between China and the world, China and the African countries. I have many African students, and I always try to let them know how China works, why Chinese culture is like this. To let them know more about China's development and, of course, how they can make use of what they've learned from China to better serve their own country's development. Because I'm pretty sure there are lots of experience worth to be spread to the global south. For example, in terms of people to be more united to develop the region, to develop irrigation system to better produce food so that they won't be starved. And for example, make better use of like the wasteland by
Yes.
covering them with the solar panels so that people will be lightened up with electricity. They can better develop their own technology, their own industry. But we also wish that our students or African people get to know China better, because in terms of China's peaceful development, China's cooperation on equal footings with all the countries. We wish the people there, as well as the government, know that as a believer, China is offering equal cooperation, and we don't anticipate for more favorable conditions for China's investment, but at least they should treat us fairly, and they should know such cooperation is win-win.
Eric, how are you celebrating the Spring Festival this year? And on a personal note, what are your hopes for the Year of the Horse for yourself and for China-Africa ties?
Well, as I'm speaking to you, I'm in the villages. I'm in Hunan, Changde, which is a city here in the southern part of China. But I'm not really in the city. I'm in one of the counties, Ximen County. And it's actually my first time coming over here. It is actually a Chinese friend of mine who invited me here. He is based in Zimbabwe, by the way. So that actually explains how important the Chinese New Year is to the Chinese people. To travel all the way back from Zimbabwe to come back here and spend some time with his family. And so he was like, "Oh, Eric, if you want to come and experience our Spring Festival here, I really welcome you." And I was like, well, I've spent much of it in Zhejiang province. Why can't I just also go out there and have a little bit of an experience in Hunan? So that's where I am right now. So anyway, my hopes for the Year of the Horse is that everybody be stronger like a horse, as it represents that strength, that power, and also that we be mobile. Let's move out of our comfort zones, just like what the horses do with that pace. Let us also achieve our goals. So just wishing everybody success and may blessings come your way. Because this year is the year of China-Africa cultural exchanges. So I hope that we see, that people-to-people ties strengthen in this period of our era. This year, I think we're going to have a lot of activities to do with youth exchanges, a lot of activities to do with the cultural exchanges between China and Africa.
May the Year of the Horse ignite your dreams and may your wishes come true.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And if you had to pick one sound, one smell, and one taste that best captures the Spring Festival, what would they be, Eric?
Oh, yeah, that is a very tricky question. But I think for the sound, I will go for the popping sound.
The fireworks.
That comes from the firecrackers.
Yeah.
If you are experiencing Spring Festival in the rural areas, one of the most important things that you would not miss, like it or not, this popping sound of the firecrackers. And that represents that we are now in the Chinese New Year. We are now experiencing that Chinese New Year. So the smell, I think it has to be the fresh smell of the calligraphy ink. Why am I picking this? It's because during the Spring Festival, there is also one important thing that you have to do. That is to write the character Fu, which means a blessing. So during the Spring Festival, we write those things. We do those calligraphies. There are also other things that you have to write. And it all has to do with setting some goals for your new year and also, wishing for blessings. And then in terms of the taste, I would go for the sweetness of what they call the New Year cake. It's also called the rice cake.
Ah, yes.
We call it
Yes.
Nian Gao. Yes. This also has a very interesting meaning. If you are directly translating it, Nian is a year,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And Gao is more like a cake.
Yeah.
So a New Year cake, I think it captures the whole feeling of the New Year. And also the fact that without me telling you which Gao am I talking about, it also means toe. It can also mean a high. So it also has that meaning that you are aiming higher. You are aiming to do bigger things in the new year to come. And also, Nian Gao is made of the sticky rice. I was just saying it's rice cake.
Yeah.
So sticky, that union also captures the atmosphere that you would see during the Spring Festival. So I think I would go for these three. I think they basically capture very well the meaning and the impact, the essence of the Chinese New Year.
All the best there in the year of the horse.
Thank you.
Listeners, you can subscribe to our online newsletter on CGTN or Substack to get more insights on China-Africa relations. Just search China-Africa Talk. For now, it's goodbye. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post it on social media or leave a rating and review. Thanks again. See you next time.